And we're green.
Hey, intro.
All right. Oh, intro. Yeah, we got to do that right away, huh? Here's the beer drinker intro.
Just play it.
And he made it out of hops.
Tivoli beer, beer, beer. Tivoli beer, beer, beer.
You love that song, don't you?
It's kind of cool, isn't it?
You just play it during the day, just listen
Sometimes,
to it.
yeah, I just have it going in here a lot of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you uploaded the video, just a video on YouTube, so I could see you just having it on loop, just over.
Do 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 do. All right.
Evening. I'm Dave.
I'm Jeff.
We're beer drinkers with a Bible fetish.
Sometimes we drink beer. Sometimes we have a Bible fetish.
Sometimes it's both.
Sometimes it's both at the same time.
That's true. That's
true. So we're in for a treat tonight.
Yeah.
Because I brought the beer in tonight. This is my own beer that I made.
Yep.
Little K38 going on here.
So we don't know if it's going to be good or bad.
It's going to be good.
Have you had it yet?
I taste sampled it.
Oh, you did?
I haven't tried it out of the actual bottle yet since
Okay.
I've done it, but I was sampling it, of course, as I was making it. So I knew I kind of know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
What we're sampling here, obviously you can't buy in the store, so we're going to rate it, but you can't buy this in the store. It is a double hop red Oktoberfest.
Double hop red Oktoberfest.
Yes. So it's gonna be pretty good. Let's see you get that thing open, man. Come on.
No, I told you I'm not doing it.
Look. Do you like orange or do you like black? I have two bottle openers. Check this out.
No, you have two screwdrivers.
These are bottle openers.
You can open it. You can open both of them then.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It sounded good. Did that not
did.
sound good?
That sounded real good.
Yeah. Here. Let's get that sound.
Ooh. That'll add to the nice pour when we do our little clip.
Yes. All right. Here's a little beer pour as we toast. I'll screw that. I'm gonna toast during the beer pour. Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Let's give this baby a try.
Ooh, it smells nice. Ooh.
That turned out good.
I really did.
That turned out good. I'm giving that one a 2.
No bias in that review at all. One sip and I made it, so
It's a 2. That's a 2 thumbs up. Right, let's see. 2. Get it in the camera.
How to discredit yourself right off the bat. That's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. Right here.
It is good though.
It is.
This turned out really good.
I'm not hating.
Now I do have another one that I did brew, and I drank one of them last Saturday night because I went to that little Burning Man festival here, and I brewed it with a shot of whiskey in each bottle.
Oh, so you put the whiskey in each bottle?
In each bottle, and then I added the beer to do its final set.
Yeah.
And I tried it. It's a strong Boilermaker is what that damn thing is. It was all right, but this beer's almost too strong with the whiskey.
Oh.
Because this is a pretty stout beer. It's kind of a stronger beer.
So to add to it.
Yeah, so to add to it, it was kind of kick-ass. It definitely was.
Put some hair on your chest.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure I really enjoyed it a whole lot.
No, that's not good.
Well, I was always saying as I was making it, it was either going to be really damn good or really, really bad. I mean, I only made a few bottles. I didn't make that much. What is that?
That was some feedback from something. That's my mic.
That's your mic giving some feedback?
It's getting too close to you.
Oh, here. Let's see if that did.
Nope.
Still doing it? It's your headphones. It's actually doing it from your headphones. Take your headphones off, I bet. Oh, here it is. It's your headphone wire, dude. It's hanging over it. Here. I'm going to unplug you.
All right.
We're having some technical difficulties. See?
Nope, still loud. Oh, there it's gone.
All right.
There we go.
Wow.
Nope. Nope, it's coming back.
What is going on here?
That's
Wow, we're having like major technical difficulties here.
Plug me back. Go.
Yeah, let me unplug that.
Yeah, go back into there. Let's see if that fixes it. Yeah.
That fix it?
Yeah.
Is it all better now? Whoa, that was pretty wild.
That's weird. Oh, now I know I swapped it out. I can hear that.
Wow. Little technical difficulty there. Oh, did I just plug you into that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was me. All right.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that echo is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, what we did is to give the technical background here in layman's terms. I plugged him into the output speaker, which is where basically a producer would be or something, so they can hear everything, rather than like where I'm plugged in, where I can only hear ourselves off of the mix board. We got mixer boards here. We're like high tech here, man. We've got mix boards. We've got headphones. We have a microphone.
We're trying to be impressive.
Yeah. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's all real and inexpensive stuff, but it works.
Yeah. Semi works.
Doing one, you can grab all this stuff off Amazon. It's decent. Works.
So what do we got for stories tonight? Let's move into a story here. What did we pull up? It was
Headlines.
The headline of the day.
Headline of the day. So it's a little bit of an older story. Not really. September 29th, 2018.
Yeah, that's just a week ago.
Yeah, so it's not super old.
Yeah.
It was an opinion piece in the New York Times.
Yeah.
The Gray Lady, for those of you who are journalists. It was by Timothy Keller. Mr. Keller is the founder of Redeemer Presbyterian Church in New York City. I believe Keller stepped down.
Did he really?
Yeah, or retired, not like stepped down.
I think he may have retired. I don't think he actually stepped down.
Right, it is very different. But the headline piece reads...
Yeah, he didn't give anybody an extended hug or anything, did he, where he had to step down?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
Not
just making sure he didn't do the extended hug deal, where everybody goes after him because he gave a woman an extended hug.
Oh, possibly. But
possibly?
I don't. It doesn't.
Seems like they're all doing it nowadays.
Doesn't seem like something he got in trouble for.
So
the headline piece reads: "How do Christians fit into the two-party system?" They don't.
Well, that's the plain and simple part. They don't. Yeah.
Ooh, if you can read it, it's kind of.
It's kind of interesting when you start getting political, the Christians in political arena, because I mean, you and I, we both have friends on both sides.
Yep.
And it's really sad, the division that happens, and he talks about that in that article, the division that really happens. And we'll post this article for everybody
so
on the New York Times. It was actually a really good piece, how as a Christian really get involved in your politics. I mean, it kind of talks about that. You can do it through your vote. You can do it through that way. But don't be divisive, and don't expect the church to choose sides. And that's, I think, what it really gets into.
Well, so that's my big takeaway from it was like he talks about different forms of the political system and political involvement.
Yeah.
Right? Like slavery was led by the abolitionists, and it was Christians speaking up against slavery.
Yeah.
And you have that aspect and dynamic. And you had the civil rights leaders, and many of them were pastors. You have Scripture specifically speaking against racism, and you need to speak out about that as an individual. Then he gets into the alignment of don't align a political party with the church, because now you're adding to the gospel. So now when you go to preach the gospel, you're not just telling someone, hey, Jesus has all this for you, you're also asking them to fit into a political party now. And so now their allegiance is like, yeah, but I'm not a Republican, I'm a Democrat.
Yeah.
And so if I become a Christian, I have to give up my views on government. Well, I'm not going to give up my views on government, so if that means I'm not going to be a Christian, then I'm not going to be a Christian because I'm not going to give up my views on government, and vice versa, right? Like Democrat becoming a Republican or a Republican becoming a Democrat.
And, that really kind of does piss me off in the church today, because you see that, and the more we read, or the more I read these church articles, especially searching for stuff to talk about through the week, the more I see this view of the church being a very conservative Republican type view. And you can see that in some of their remarks. You can see that in their, trying to fit their theology to it. And you can fit the theology to both sides. That's the crazy part. It will fit on both sides.
Well, so it's funny is like you talk about it from a conservative side, and most of the stuff I see online, like especially my social media network,
it's the liberal side.
It's liberal Christians,
yeah,
where it's all scripture supporting the liberal model,
yeah,
not the conservative model. So it's very much the other side. So it's, I mean, I grew up with the traditional religious right, and you see that everywhere in culture, but then seeing it on the left as well, and it just drives me mad because I'm like, take Jesus out of politics. Like, as you and an individual agree with a policy or a party as an individual, if that's what God's calling you and telling you how to vote, go for it. Don't assign Jesus a political party.
No, and I think you see that all the time, though. People assign him as a political party, and you can easily use Scripture to do that, though. That's the crazy part about it, because it fits both sides.
Well, it was we have a friend.
It's supposed to be all things to all people. So,
right. Well, we have a friend who was a Democrat, and he was told by somebody that, "Oh, but you're a Democrat, so you're going to hell." Like,
yeah,
huh?
Yeah.
Where in Scripture does it say because you don't adhere to your views on government?
That was in the book of Thomas, I think.
Oh, I thought it was in the book of Constitution.
I think it may have been in the book of Thomas, but I could be wrong. That could be why they threw it out. I don't know.
Which one?
The book of Thomas? Yeah, there was a couple of them, wasn't there?
There's more than
yeah,
one
I think
gospel.
there was like 4 or 5 Gospels of Thomas.
The one book I read, what was it? Something translations. It gave excerpts of up to 13 different Gospels of Thomas.
Wow. So I heard 4.
Well, it's because it's one, but there were 13 variations that they found. So it's like one of those things when people, it was funny, like when Dan Brown wrote all his books, they're like, the Gospel of Thomas, I used to joke around always because I just read that book. So I would like go around and be like, which one?
Well, see, I thought the book of Lilith maybe had that too.
Maybe. There's a lot of different, there's the Gospel of Peter.
Well, there's the book of Lilith, the first woman ever.
Right. In Jewish folklore.
Yeah. I think she was a Republican, if I recall.
Oh, Lilith. So Eve was a Democrat?
Eve was a Democrat, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why Lilith didn't make it, I
didn't know our
guess.
political parties went back that far.
Oh, yeah, of course they do, man.
Wow, it came back around because for a while there were the Whigs and Democratic Republicans.
Hey, it started way back then. Lilith and Eve, man, they had it out for each other, and I guess, one beat the other one out, and that's why there was only one left.
So Adam wasn't down with the conservatives, so he
I think he threw them in the ring together is what he did.
Oh, okay.
Just kind of threw them in the ring together and let them duke it out.
Douchebag.
Yeah. He wasn't going to get involved, man.
Yeah.
He's a guy, let the girls. He saw 2 women getting together and said,
he just let them duke it out.
Yeah. He didn't know they were actually going to fight.
Yeah.
No,
he
was trying to do the first menage a trois. This is an adult show, by the way. This is why we're on later. So, if you didn't catch that.
Yeah. So there were a couple of good quotes from here. This one, nevertheless, while believers can register under a party affiliation and be active in politics, they should not identify the Christian church or faith with a political party as the only Christian one. There are a number of reasons to insist on this, and then he goes through them all in the article. I don't want to read the whole thing because that's not what we do on this show.
This beer here, there's one thing that's going to be dangerous about it. I didn't hydrous test it. So I have no idea what the alcohol level is in this thing. I'm estimating by when I made it, I'm estimating it to be somewhere around 5 to 6, somewhere in there, over the 5 mark, but probably no more than 6 is what I'm guesstimating this to be. Nice. By the way I brewed it, but I didn't actually test it, so I don't know for sure.
Yeah. Here's the last paragraph of the article. The gospel gives us the resources to love people who reject both our beliefs and us personally. Christians should think of how God rescued them. He did it not by taking power, but by coming on earth, losing glory and power, serving and dying on a cross. How did Jesus save? Not with the sword, but with nails in his hands.
Now we do it with Facebook. Twitter.
Right? Social media. Yeah.
That's what we do it with now. Twitter, the bird.
Oh, yeah, this was the paragraph I really liked. Another reason Christians these days cannot allow the church to be fully identified with any particular party is the problem with the British ethnicist James Mumford calls package deal ethics. Increasingly, political parties insist that you cannot work on one issue with them if you don't embrace all of their approved positions. And that's the one I really
that kind of hit me there too, because that's something that the church kind of, and I've seen those political churches and attended one once before too. I didn't continue to go.
Yeah.
But it was very, very much, the one I went to was very conservative views. And like we talked about last week with the gays in church, this one I attended, they would badmouth the gay community on stage, coming from like a conservative point of view and using the Bible and everything with that. And I had to leave. I'm like going, you people are, where's the love, man? Where's the love with this? Where's the love your neighbor? That the two main commandments Christ gave. Where's the love your neighbor? Oh, screw that. It's our way or the highway, kind of thing. And I don't buy that,
Well, that's the problem with politics is the second you get so wrapped up into politics, you start conforming the Bible to your political beliefs instead of just taking the Bible for what it is.
Yeah.
Because you're twisting Scripture to fit your worldview instead of changing your worldview to fit Scripture.
Yeah.
And so...
And that's I think we see that more and more today where people are doing the opposite. Yeah, they're not...
Well, I have noticed, and this is someplace I was there, like when I first moved to Vegas and got heavily involved in politics from 2006 to, I don't know, up till a few years ago. So it'd been a long time. I had to notice that in myself, that I'd really turned politics into an idol. Yeah. Now it's real easy because it's a problem that I have, because I'll fall back to that every once in a while, but I can see it so easily in other people because I was that. And it's not like...
Especially the one mutual friend we have. I mean, it's just gotten way out of hand.
And it stinks to see because it's like, I've been there and I know what you're like. I'm not trying to hound you because I don't know what's going on. Like, I've been there. I've been in your shoes. I've done it. Like, I twisted my entire worldview and I ended up where I did it in the middle of everything because it's like, well, if I'm going to follow the Scripture, if I'm going to follow Scripture first, Scripture doesn't align to a political party.
No.
Scripture aligns to taking care of us and then the outside world. Like, there was one pastor who shared, there's some old Roman letters of which there was a Roman governor who noticed a group of Christians that they always had everything they needed, but they all had a need, or they all had an abundance, that they were able to take care of the poor and their neighbor and everything else because they all helped each other out.
Yeah.
It was very much like a socialist, communist type thinking, right? But it's not a government.
But you don't really have the one leader like a government that's...
Well, I was going to say, it wasn't the government that was telling them to live this way. They were believers who was providing for themselves. They were all working and doing as they needed and providing for each other. And then in doing so, because they all had an abundance, they were then able to have excess to give outside the community. And this governor was studying this and was like, okay, how can we copy and mimic this? And so for me, the big thing is like when Christians are like, well, see, the church is communist or socialist. I was like, no. Let's take it out of the government realm. We as Christians should live that way, not under a government authority. Let's not write rules. Let's not write...
Here's the difference, too. When you have, there's the old saying, socialism's great until you run out of other people's money.
Yeah.
And the problem that you see with that when a government controls it and the government distributes it is you get lazy people.
Yeah.
And, well, why do I have to work hard? Because either they're going to take everything, or why do I have to work hard because they're just going to give me what I need anyway? So you get lazy people, either that won't work or don't work hard at all, don't give it their all to really be able to give back. Because the harder you work, obviously, the more you have to give back.
Right, and that's where I don't agree that model should be a government structure.
Yeah,
I do agree we should live that way.
Yeah,
and that was my big conflict when I was really wrestling with that, because it's like I agree with the principle, like the idea of a socialist,
helping other people out,
right?
Yeah,
like in a small. But the nice thing about it not being a government structure is if we as believers are living that way, somebody doesn't like it, they can leave.
Yeah.
You know, it's a volunteer organization. Like, we as a church are going to do this. If you want to be a part of this, this is how we live and this is how we do it. And you are welcome to join and partake and be fine. And then if somebody gets lazy or anything, you can go to them, you can encourage, you can find out what's going on, you can offer help and support. And then ultimately, if they don't want to live that way anymore,
they can leave.
Well, they're free to go where they want. That's that's the nice thing about a place like America is you can get a group like that.
And there are groups like that.
Right, and there are people who do that.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I'm like, I agree with the idea of the way the early church lived and the principles of taking Scripture to that. Where I draw the line is when Christians then say, well, we should have a communistic government because that's what the Scripture says. And I was like, no, we should live our lives that way. We should not impose the will of a government because the second that government is no longer run by a Christian leader, and we all saw what happened with the Catholic Church, like throughout history, do you really want to give a Christian that kind of power knowing how we already saw that corruption in the church with the Catholics? So why would we want to repeat the same mistake we did? On the same time, it's funny, it's the people on the left who are calling for this, but yet at the same time they call out politicians on the right for being theocrats.
Yeah.
Well, you don't like the fact that they're pushing religion, but the government you're advocating for is using religious texts. It's still a theocracy. You're still arguing for a theocracy. It's just you're arguing for a socialist communist theocracy, whereas the people on the right are arguing for whatever type of government they're arguing for. So you're still arguing for a theocracy. You're just clothing it in helping the poor.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing.
Uh-huh.
You're still using the Bible to pounce. Because my thing is, if you're a non-believer and you're arguing for, if you're a believer arguing for a socialist or communism, then you're saying the right's imposing Christian values on everybody. Okay, well, when you go do a socialist communist government, you're still imposing Christian values on the people who don't agree with you.
Here's the amazing thing too. I see this especially the younger millennials. Making fun of millennials. You see the millennials talk a lot about socialism and communism, but more socialism type governments. And it's interesting because most of them really have no idea how those governments truly work. I was talking about this in somebody in the real estate field in my office. And one of the things I said to him, I says, do you really like your job? And he goes, yeah, I love my job. I love, helping people and selling property and having them get their house. I said, did you know the first rule of communism, one of the first things that's taken away is property rights.
Yep.
You can no longer own property. You don't own anything, nothing, because everything's equal across the board. A doctor makes the same money as a janitor. It doesn't matter, but you're assigned your education based upon what you can do and where your smarts are. If you're not smart, you're not a doctor. If you're dumb, you're sweeping streets. But you're going to make the same money all across the board. Everybody's equal, and you can't own anything. And he's like, no, that's not how it works. No, you need to do some study and read on this.
Well, I was listening to
because true communism, that's what it is.
Well, that's the thing. I was listening to somebody talk about the problem with the younger part of my generation. I'm old enough. I'm still in the millennial group, but I was old enough.
You're the top end of it, though, too.
Correct. I'm at the older end of the generation.
Yeah, that's because you're old, dude.
But I know I'm turning gray.
You got a lot of gray going on there, by the way.
I have a lot of gray.
You really do.
So
in the past year, you have really turned a lot of gray.
Yeah, well, I got married and had a kid.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that will.
That'll do it. You see me, my gray, I shaved a lot of it out today.
Yeah. No, but the gray, it's that whole wisdom. It's that elder thing that's coming in. Gray is wisdom.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, makes you feel more refined or educated. Or it just gets me a job as Santa Claus in the winter. That's the truth. I'm trying to make it sound better, but it's really just due to Santa Claus. No, but so I remember even as a kid seeing photos.
Santa with tats.
Yeah. That's all clothes.
It's the cool Santa.
You still got to wear gloves and long sleeves so they never see it. But you visited the Soviet Union as
yes,
a high school.
Yes, I was there in high school. Yes, I was.
I remember because the wall fell in 92 under 91.
The wall went down in 87.
No,
it started to go down in 86. The Berlin Wall was taken down in 86, 87.
I thought it was 91.
Nope. Google it. Berlin Wall went down in the 80s. It was almost right after I went there. Now, going to Russia was rather interesting. Just ask Google.
Destruction date, June 13th, 1990.
90.
Yep.
Destruction, when did it actually go down, though? When was the wall opened up?
61. Construction started on August 13th, 1961. Destruction date, June 13th, 1990.
Destruction, when was it opened up, though? When did the two sides come together? That's when it really went down.
1989.
Okay, 89.
The year before.
Okay.
Well, because I remember it was under Bush. Reagan called for the wall to come down,
Okay.
but it didn't come down until Bush was in office. Now, granted, I was a kid when that happened, but I was young enough to still see photos. Like, I still heard stories, saw photos of what socialist, communist Russia looked like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm not arguing right, wrong, good, or bad, but I was able to see it. So because as a kid I had those pictures and I saw that kind of idea, when people talk about it to me, I have a very real memory of what that looked like over there.
I'm going to aim this camera down a little bit for people.
Oh yeah, because we're at the top end.
Yeah, we're at the top.
Yeah. So like,
Technical difficulties.
so for me, it's very real. Now, 1990, I was 8 years old. You know, but it was a big deal when that wall and people were climbing on it and pick out. Like I remember we got a pic. Like we had some friends who went over. They took some photos of the wall and gave us some chunks, and we had some chunks of the wall, and that was like a big deal. Like, whoa, we have a pic. Like,
if you're ever here in Vegas too, you can actually see some of the wall.
Yeah, it's down at the Main Street Casino.
Yeah, you go pee on it.
Yeah,
it's actually in the men's bathroom.
The men's bathroom, they have it
behind the urinals.
Yeah,
so you can pee on it. If you have bad aim, you pee on the wall.
It's a pie. If you're peeing,
no, it's the whole thing, dude. The whole wall takes up that whole space in there.
It's just the chunks in the top.
It's the whole wall all the way across.
Whatever. I'm not going to argue with you.
Pee on the wall.
Whatever. Old man losing his mind.
Pee on the wall.
But anyway, go back to the point. Like, I was able to see it. So now, and then the thing I think the big thing with millennials, more so when they talk about socialism, they talk about quote unquote democratic socialism.
Yeah.
But then the countries they talk about, they all have market-based economies. Like, so I don't think the words they're using are describing correctly what they're trying to convey. So I think from when I talk to them, they're like, we want democratic socialism like Denmark. Like that's something you'll hear. But Denmark has a market-based economy, and then they use the market-based economy, they tax that economy or regulate that economy to pay for the social services. So what people are arguing for...
See, that's completely different than
correct.
socialism.
But when you talk to actual millennials, when you listen to what they're actually arguing for, they're not... Now, political leaders, aside from what I think, like, the younger generation, when they... Like, I watch a lot of these Q&A that conservatives do and liberals go to, and what they're asking for is a larger social safety net. Things like single-payer health care, reform social, which would reform Medicare and Medicaid, reform Social Security, allow certain social programs, to be implemented. They're not asking for government to get involved. Now, some are.
Seems like it's government. The ones I speak of.
Right, but like the media frames the fringe as the majority, but if you actually listen to a lot of kids and you talk to them, the majority is actually just asking for more of a social net, more so than actual socialism. Mm-hmm. But people have framed it as democratic socialism, so obviously they get slammed.
It's interesting. I was in Germany in June. Mm-hmm. Remember, I recall I took a trip there. We did a show from there. I was at a hostel.
That's
we
right.
did a show from Germany. And so I'm sitting there at a wedding, and I'm having a conversation with this young kid, millennial there, and he's making a comment how he's out looking for a job, and he's offered jobs, but he doesn't like the pay. And I'm going, I don't care if you like the pay or not. What experience do you have? Well, I just graduated college. Okay, that means you need to take the job because you're entry level. You got to get experience under your belt. He's like, no, they should pay me the same as everybody else there. And he's arguing this with me, and I'm like, you're a complete idiot, dummy. I said, okay, I said, you worked there 20 years, right? Picture this 20 years from now. You got the job. You worked there 20 years. You've earned your way. You know more than the people coming in because now you have experience. So you bring more to the table for whatever company you're working for. So you've earned that extra pay. You've earned your vacation. You've earned all of this over time because you've been there.
and then some punk kid comes in who doesn't know squat, and he gets all the same benefits you do, how would that make you feel? Oh, I'd be fine with it. Yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit is what that is. You'd be pissed off too because you didn't earn it. You know?
Well, that's the thing too. Like anything that you're given, you don't appreciate as much. Things you earn, you appreciate more.
Exactly.
So, but that's just, it is what it is. Like we have no patience. We're now.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of that. Like, go back to that was on here during Occupy Wall Street. When that whole thing was going down, I thought it was very interesting. There was a guy who worked for a temp agency in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So he was, it was an article because it wasn't a video. YouTube wasn't that big back then. But it was an article he was writing. So he turns on the news and he's watching this Occupy Wall Street thing. And it's a bunch of college-educated kids who can't find work. So he's sitting there. He's a recruiter, right? Like accountants or temp agency. He's sitting there. He's like, looking in his office. He's like, I got a bunch of work. Bunch of people who need jobs.
I'm going to go down there.
Go give a bunch of people jobs.
Yeah.
So he gets a bunch of people in the office. They find out how to get a booth and set up a tent down there. So, they don't get in trouble because it's a private park and they don't want to get in trouble with the city. So they get all this done. He goes down to Occupy Wall Street. He goes down there and he's got all these jobs. Like, these are jobs that he could literally, he's like, some of them I could send him to right from there.
Yeah.
Some of them I could start him tomorrow. Get all these people work. So he goes down there.
I don't want the work.
He could barely find anyone to take the jobs.
Yeah.
And he's explaining, like, him and his recruiters, they're like, we go down there, they all have degrees, but they all had a list of demands. They were all out of college. They all had degrees.
Yeah.
But they wanted close to 6 figures, offices, windows, and him and all the recruiters were like, but you don't have... They're like, well, I've worked at Starbucks. Okay,
Yeah.
you've worked at Starbucks.
So you know how to make a cup of coffee?
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't...
You got skills, dude.
You've never worked this job.
Yeah.
You need an entry-level position or a mid-level position.
Yeah.
Like, well, you'll get paid a little bit more because you have a degree, so you're not going to get paid.
You'll make more than Starbucks.
You'll make more than the guy without the degree.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But he's just sitting there and he was like dumbfounded. He's like, these kids have an unrealistic expectation of what to expect. Now, I don't know how much I can blame them versus the teachers and education system, because I have a friend who went to journalism school down at ASU. So I was talking to him after it was either end of his junior year, beginning of senior year sometime. And I was talking to him and I'm like, so what's your plans? Like, what are you going to do when you graduate? And it was the most awe-inspiring inspiration that not all was lost. And he's sitting there, he's like, well, I talked to my teachers, and he was telling me, he's like, so starting pay for a journalist for what you're doing is going to be $20,000 to $24,000 a year.
Okay.
He's like, that's going to be your starting pay. He's like, so here's the thing. When you graduate, you can expect to make $20,000 to $24,000. So if somebody's offering you $20,000 to $24,000, be picky. Be picky with the job. If someone's like, we'll pay you $22,000 or we'll pay you $24,000, if it's not something you really want, you know what? You can go get another job.
Yeah, because you know that's where the pay scale is.
That's the pay supposed to be.
Yeah.
But if somebody comes to you and offers you $30,000 or $32,000, take it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to make almost $10,000 more than the rest of the jobs. So if you want to be picky, you could start off lower, picking one of these jobs, or if somebody offers you a lot more, you can't be picky at that higher level, because it's one of those like, dude, you got lucky that you got that. And it was funny that he had this, because then he started getting...
That was good. He had a good teacher, though, that
Right,
did that,
like
because
that's-
most of them don't. And I'll give you an example. I had that video editing company for a while.
Yeah.
That I still do the video editing. And I decided that I was going to hire somebody to do my editing, because I was doing a lot of it myself.
Right.
So I was going to hire somebody to do some of the editing. Well, I went down, I started looking online, and I found out a lot of video editors are, $50 an hour or so is what they're making, $40-50 an hour. Good money to edit a video. And you look at it, it's almost, it's an hour per minute, basically, is what you can figure a lot of time for a video.
So you're doing a 5-minute video. That's going to cost you $250 for real good professional editing. Well, I thought, I'll go down to UNLV Film School. I'll go get some students. They're going to know how to use this program. They're using the same programming I have. I can supply them with the computers. I can supply them with all the stuff. They don't have to use them themselves.
Yeah.
And I go down there, I talk with the teacher, and he says, I want to put an ad up in there. And he goes, yeah, but you got to pay them like $35 an hour. And I said, no, wait a minute. I can go to the Philippines, because this is editing. I can send over the raw material to them over the internet, the raw video. I can have them edit it with the same software, the same know-how, the same education for $8 an hour. And you want me to pay them $35 an hour? I'm saving money from the general market, but I'm not going to pay them that much. I figured I'd give them $15 an hour or something is what I was thinking in my head, thinking, they're students. $15 an hour is pretty decent. Well over minimum wage, gives them something to do, gives them some experience in what they're doing. I can sign off on any type of experience for them when they go to get another job.
It's a resume builder.
Yeah. And, and then I don't expect them to stay. This is a stepping stone. I understand that. But give them some of that experience. And no, you got to pay them this. That's what they shouldn't be doing that. And I'm like, okay, I'll go hire somebody from the Philippines in. Instead of that $8 an hour, I'm paying him $10. He's happy as hell and does great work because I'm giving him more money in his area, and it's less than I would have paid here. It's crazy. And this teacher is setting a false expectation. These kids aren't even graduated yet. They're still in school.
Yeah, and that's the education system. And it's not all, but it's not all. I can't say that's the education system. That's certain teachers in specific places because, again, it's anecdotal evidence, right? Like you're going off one experience, I'm going off one.
Well, for me, from a company point of view, too, I couldn't keep the doors open for what I was charging for stuff to be competitive with other people out there, with other companies doing the same sort of stuff I am. To be competitive, I couldn't pay $50 an hour.
No,
I couldn't. I'd have zero profit. It would cost me to keep the doors open. At $30 an hour, I might be able to keep my doors open if they could get it done quickly. But since they don't have experience, it's probably going to take them longer than the $50 an hour guy anyway.
So now you're losing money.
So now I'm losing money anyway. And there is no way I could do that. I had no choice to compete in the market but to go over there.
Yeah. But that's...
And these people don't understand that.
No. You hope one day everything changes. So...
I'd love to pay somebody the $50 an hour if the company could afford it, but you can't do it.
You throw an ad up on Craigslist.
Yeah, I could have probably found somebody to do it on the side.
A student would have been who was looking for stuff on Craigslist would have hit you up.
And would have had fun. And again, it's a resume builder.
Right.
They do a few videos for me. They refer another friend that's going to school. I'm okay with that. And it helps them out to get them to that next level where they need to be.
Well, I think we tangent on millennials on that instead of going off political parties where we were sticking and Christians.
Yeah, I don't know how we got into that. We kind of
started with millennials and the attitude of jobs and work, but
that's okay. So we went off on a little tangent. Yeah. So you caught the fight this weekend.
Absolutely.
What'd you think? What do you think should happen to Khabib and McGregor?
So it's hard, right? Like watching everything leading up to it, I totally understand Khabib's side.
You want to grab another beer while we're starting into this talk?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's grab one more beer. Because the next one's not mine.
True story.
Next one is Circus Boy. All right. I don't know. By Magic Hat. Be amazed by our flavorful haze.
Ooh, Hefeweizen, 4.5% alcohol by volume.
Yep.
3/4 of pint. Ale brewed with lemongrass.
Interesting.
Nice.
And it's magical.
Circus Boy is an unfiltered American-style Hefeweizen whose prolific American Hefeweizen yeast swings among the bubbles, creating a mysterious haze. Just below the surface of his light malt body lies a mischievous addition of lemongrass and a subtle citrusy finish.
The first thing I thought when you pull these out, Circus Boy,
was a priest going, "Come here, boy."
It's easy to talk and say nothing at the same time. Where's the other bottle cap?
Oh, right here.
See what that one says.
They have sayings on them.
Yeah. Righty tighty, lefty loosey.
Okay.
We gotta rate your beer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's stop. Let's rate it. What would you think for my beer?
Ooh, that's good. Yours is 1 3/4.
1 3/4.
Yep.
That's actually what I was thinking. 1 3/4.
Yep.
It turned out really good.
It was really good.
Yeah.
I was impressed. Very impressed.
Yeah. So it turned out excellent. This batch. Yeah. It's too bad you guys can't get it. Maybe someday. We're looking at maybe marketing that. We've talked about that in the past. Maybe marketing some of these beers down the road. And that one did turn out pretty good. So,
this is awesome. It's very summery.
It is. This is.
Oh, we didn't get our beer pour.
This isn't too bad. Let's see. Let's do some beer pour here. So refreshing. I know. You just sit
so
good.
That.
So anyway, I don't know. The lemon is pretty strong in this.
I like it.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's pretty strong.
It's very summery.
It definitely is.
Back to the topic at hand, the fights. So, I'm not surprised, like, at all.
With Khabib jumping the fence?
Yeah. With the stuff that McGregor and his camp had been saying for months. I mean, let's be real, right? Like, we have a friend who called out Khabib for being a little piece of crap.
Mm-hmm.
McGregor and his team flew from Ireland, I think on a private jet, all the way to New York.
To throw up a ladder at
Hold on.
us.
Let's follow this whole the way through. They fly to New York, sneak backstage to the bus because they had to run to catch it, through metal gates at the bus, injuring other fighters trying to get to Khabib.
Yeah.
And he got a light sentence in New York.
Yeah.
And sanctioned on that. But yet everybody's freaking out about Khabib. Now I get it, because Khabib said it in his post-press conference. Press conference. He's like, I don't understand why everyone's upset with me. What Conor did was worse.
I had a problem with that, because now he's passing the buck and not admitting any fault whatsoever. It's like, listen what he did to me. You know what? You still took the action. You still got to take some fault for this.
I agree he needs to accept responsibility for his actions.
Yeah.
But for people to say that Khabib was out of line, Conor
said a bunch of shit he shouldn't have said.
Conor also went through the legal system. It cost him millions.
Say that. At least he voluntarily, he had that warrant come out. He voluntarily gave himself up for arrest. He was arrested. He went through the legal system. Whether his sentence was light, harsh, however you want to do that, that's not up to us. It was up to the legal system at the time.
Correct.
So we're not controlled on that. I personally think the same thing has to happen to Khabib. And he gets a harsh sentence, he gets a harsh. If he gets a light, he gets a light. But he needs to face what he did.
And that's the thing. I watched the post-press conference with Dana.
Yeah.
Dana's sounding like this is bad for Khabib. It's just all about bad. The governor of New York, or the governor Sandoval.
Aren't they talking about never letting him back in Nevada?
I haven't heard that. So Governor Sandoval was in the building, though.
Uh-huh.
So this is what makes it worse, because the governor was there.
Oh.
They had a lot of Metro. Like, Dana made the comment. He's like, we had to bring in so many
on top of
he said
time.
He's like, we had so many cops. I didn't know if the city was safe. Like, to try and exaggerate like how many cops they had
to keep them
there. Now, Dana said that he gave Metro all the credit in the world for squashing as quickly as he did, because I guess there was a not Tyson Holyfield. It was one of the boxing matches that Dana was at where it broke out of the ring into the crowd and onto the streets. So, and Dana was at that boxing match that got that out of control.
Well, this one did get out of control inside the arena itself, outside by the food courts and some of that, if you saw some of those videos.
I saw some of the videos, but then listening to
like that
UFC,
one jackass that drunk got up there and got his lights knocked out of him.
But talking, like, reading from Metro and everyone else, that was like peripheral stuff that wasn't anywhere as beyond. Like, most of that stuff probably was going to happen anyway. You had a bunch of drunk Irish and a bunch of drunk Russians. They hate each other. You have Conor, who's mixed in with the Irish mob.
Yeah.
You have Khabib, who's mixed in with the Russian mob. You got all those fans that are out here, and they're all drunk. Odds of a fight breaking out, period,
Yeah.
was going to happen, regardless of Khabib jumping over the fence or not. Fights were going to break out.
That just made it worse. It kind of compounded it for sure.
It put the focus on them causing the fight instead of the fights just naturally happening that everyone expected. So looking at it in context, those fights were going to happen regardless. What Khabib did, he was on top of the world. He should have just rode it. He let his ego get the best of him. He flew over the fence like a bat out of hell and jumped onto that coach. I know there's a lot of bad blood between the two of them. I know they hate each other. I know those camps hate each other.
Between the coach and Khabib, there's bad blood?
Oh, yeah. No, they all...
Well, I understand there's bad blood there, but and McGregor was saying a lot of stuff, but that was from McGregor, not from his coach.
Oh, no. The coach was talking smack.
Okay, I didn't realize the coach was too.
For months leading up to this, the coaches were talking smack and Conor. This was not just Conor.
I didn't realize the coaches were
no.
I thought it was just mainly Conor.
There's bad blood not just between Conor and Khabib, but between the two camps.
Okay.
So now when it comes to Khabib, Dana's expecting a very harsh sentence.
That's probably why he's holding his purse. Dude, you're going to have to pay this.
No. The Gaming Commission holds the purse. Gaming.
Well, because they said on an article I was reading that Dana chose not to give him his purse.
No. Dana had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
It had nothing to do with Dana. Dana gives the checks to the Gaming Commission. The Gaming Commission initially held Conor's check too.
Well, I remember that.
So Gaming had both Conor's check and Khabib's check. They reviewed the video they had at hand. They went to interview Khabib
and plus Conor didn't press charges against the guys that came after him. That's
Correct.
what I'd read too. Right after he chose not to press charges or anything like that, they thought, you know what, here's your check.
Well, no, so it wasn't from that. They watched the video. They didn't see that Conor did anything on the video they had. Then they interviewed him. They realized that everything was in their head at the time. They said everything was fine, so they gave Conor his check. Then they went to Khabib. Well, the video evidence is pretty glaring of him running over and jumping onto a coach.
Yeah,
there was no disputing that. So they held his check, and they told him, you're not getting paid because any fines they levy will come out of that check before they hand the check back over. Now, it came out today. There's footage that came out of Conor striking people. So now Gaming is freaking out because now Gaming has to find Conor, but they don't have his check. So they're going to have to send him a bill.
Who was he striking?
I don't know.
Did he strike in defense, though, or was he striking out of...
So that's the thing. There is video footage of Conor striking back that night.
Yeah.
But it was in defense of getting sucker punched a couple times.
Yeah, if it's in defense, then it's in defense. But
that's the thing. It was footage that wasn't shown that they didn't have access to.
Okay.
So it's all new footage.
I can't see him finding him if it's in defense, though.
Well,
somebody comes at you and starts punching you, you're going to punch back.
Again, but in the context of the fight, Gaming saw him striking back on those, and they didn't find him for that. So this is different footage that the UFC and pay-per-view turned over that Gaming is now alleging that they wish they would have withheld the check. However, Gaming's not blaming Conor or anyone for it, but they didn't have access to the footage. There was no nefarious activity by the UFC or anything. Everything was handed over. It wasn't footage that was available that night for them to review to be able to hold the purse. Yeah. I expect Khabib to be at least a year, suspended, minimum.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not they get their visas revoked, that'll be a whole other issue.
I've heard that too. They talked about revoking their visas where they can't even fight here anymore.
Correct. So
they won't even be able to come into the United States to fight.
And that was the question that was asked to Dana is, what if Nevada Gaming gives him a light sentence, 6 months, right? If he gets 6 months, he can keep his title. He's not going to have to relinquish it. Now he gets a year or more, he's probably going to have to relinquish it.
Yeah.
But the issue, somebody asked Dana, if Khabib gets a 3 to 6 month suspension, but then he can't get a visa, are you going to work around it? Are you going to hold
all fights would have to be overseas somewhere?
All UFC fights would have for Khabib.
Yeah.
Would have to be overseas.
And all of them for Conor at that point, too, if they revoke both.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like Conor's visa is going to get revoked, but it does sound... And it's because of, there was a lot going on with Khabib's dad being tied to the Russians and things over there. I mean, Khabib straight up came out to the press conference. He's like, Putin called me and congratulated me after the fight. So, I mean, depending on where you stand with all the Russia stuff, that could be good or bad for him. But, it's one of those things. Like, Khabib's in a lot of heat for what he did.
And he should be.
And it's sad
because
the thing is, like, leading up to this fight, like, listening to a bunch of commentary about it, Khabib hadn't really fought a lot of... Like, he's fought some top guys, but he hadn't fought a lot. Like, that 26-0 wasn't, like, a big 26-0. Whereas Conor had fought the top of the card, right? Like, he had pecking order. His resume is a lot better, so you didn't know how good Khabib was. Like, you knew he was good, but you didn't know how... And the way he... And this is kind of what's sad. He dominated Conor.
You can definitely see Conor needs to work on his wrestling. His wrestling...
Which they knew.
Sucks. It's Khabib's wrestling. It was his wrestling skill that actually did it. And... Because as I sat and watched the fight, I watched the fight yesterday.
Okay.
Found a free video on YouTube. So the UFC hadn't caught that one yet. So maybe somebody just posted it. I don't know.
Right.
But anyway, I sat and watched the whole fight. And... From what I could see, especially for rounds 1 and 2, Khabib just dominated him in round 1 and 2. Round 3, his takedowns were getting stuffed. Conor was stuffing his takedowns. At least he had some takedown defense. And that round I would have given to Conor if I was a judge on round 3. Round 4, once Khabib got him down again, that was it. Once he gets Khabib or gets Conor down, when Khabib got him down, Conor has no defense on the ground, none whatsoever.
So I was listening. I'm about halfway through Joe Rogan's podcast. He has Conor's coach on it today, and they were going over a lot of the reasons behind it. Round 1, they expected to lose round 1. They wanted to see like everything Conor did in round 1 was exactly what his coach said was the game plan.
Okay,
sit up. Let Khabib take you down.
They sat against the fence.
And sat up. Just sit up. Yeah. Like, that was the plan. They figured, stand up as long as you can, but once he got you down, just get down.
And that's wearing Khabib out because he was doing all the work where Conor's just sitting against the fence. So
correct. He's saving his energy.
Yeah.
But, like, the thing the coach kept saying is his whole game plan for Conor was defense. Was defense, which, in hindsight, looking back at it was a problem because he didn't game plan for any offense into the fight.
Yeah.
So Conor was so focused on defense that when he had opportunities to go offense, they hadn't trained for that.
They hadn't really worked on it.
So because he hadn't worked on that, Conor was at a natural deficit in terms of training for that. So that was one of the, and you see that, right? Like you watch the fight, he's very defensive the whole time, and he wasn't really getting offensive on the floor, and that makes sense. He's not a wrestler. He's not a ground and pound guy. Like he's a stand up fighter. I mean, when they were standing up though, he got clocked once, but if he could have stayed up, I think he would have had a better chance.
Well, I think so too. I think if they had stayed up, his defense, like I said, his defense on ground. I sat and watched that fight, and I'm like, dude, you have zero defense. I mean, you truly do. The shots weren't that difficult. The shots that Khabib was doing to actually defend, as I sat and watched it, they're like, that should have been defended a lot easier.
The thing that Khabib does, and Joe pointed this out during the fight, you saw he grabs both your legs with his legs and wraps them up. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
on the ground, yeah.
I mean, the thing that sucks is Khabib's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, his fighting ability, like, it reminded me of the dominance of, like, GSP, Anderson Silva, like, even John Jones when he was at the top of the game. Like, that, not the same style of fight, obviously, but that type of dominance.
Russians in wrestling are typically good anyway. I going back on I talk about myself a whole lot, but I wrestled a Russian that was in the Olympics. In nationals, and this dude was phenomenal, and he was good at throws. Is what his deal was. He was all about throws, and he never threw me.
Yeah,
I could tell that's what he was doing, and I was defending the throws. But this guy was fast, and he was really quick, and it was a good match. I had a really good match with this guy. But man,
Khabib is, and that's the thing that's sad about this. He was so dominant. He owned Conor. Mm-hmm. He absolutely owned him that whole time.
Especially the first 2 rounds. The third round wasn't so much. But
but he still just had
because they stood up most of the third round.
He had a presence and a dominance that you're just like, I want to see more of this.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to see more of this. And now, because of one stupid decision that he made, it's like John Jones, right? Like, John Jones is one of those fighters that you're like, you're so good. Like, you're phenomenal. I just want to watch you fight twice a year, and I will pay for it. Like, I will pay that money because you're so dominant. And then you do stupid things that have nothing to do with your fight, and now now you're not fighting. I lose because I don't get to see you fight. You lose because you're going to lose out on your money and payday as well. But it's like you have all this talent, and
you see these fighters do that, and that ego just gets to them, and just
it's sad.
You know,
because they're so good.
Several years ago, I was really into the show where they're locked up in the house, The Ultimate Fighter.
Oh, The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, I caught the first several seasons. I would watch it. I haven't watched it in quite a while now, but the first several seasons I really got into. A buddy of mine was trying out for it back then. One of my wrestling partners was actually trying out for the show, and we were really into it. And I remember watching one of the shows. I went to one of the fight parties after the main fight. We were at one of the casinos down here. It'll come to me. Anyway, we're in there at one of their fight parties, after fight parties, and it was the year the guy that had the hand grenades tattooed on his hands.
I remember.
There was a fighter. He was a little dude, because I remember drinking beers with him after his fight, and Planet Hollywood.
Okay.
Was at the club at Planet Hollywood. Anyway, one of the guys that was on that year was at a Temecula, and it was one of the gyms I was training at the time. And his ego was it was a monster ego, and he did really good. Well, he got out of the car there, out of his limousine when he took there, and he wound up getting into a fight out of the limo because somebody said something to him and mouthed off, and he ended up in a fight right there on the street. Dana pulled everything from him because he wasn't an actual fighter then at the time.
Right. So you're done.
You're done. He says this ego's not staying. It's done. It's gone. And to me, that's back when Ultimate Fighting, like what just happened, and even Conor with the mouthing off beforehand, you would have never seen that a few years ago. They would have squashed a lot of that before it ever even started.
See, I don't mind the trash talking. Like, I heard it today. Connor's at the top of the game and sells fights.
Yeah.
Just like Floyd does. Because they have that mouth.
Yeah.
Which sells a fight. Now, I do think that's necessary because that's one thing that's lacking in MMA is a guy who can really build...
Trash talk.
Right. Like somebody who can build the program right there, right? Like Mike Tyson didn't have to talk. You had Don King talking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got Oscar De La Hoya trying to talk. Like... He's trying.
Yeah, and he's working. Yeah, he's not the one to do it.
He's got a good fighter that he's promoting, and you just can't, like, he tries, and it's cute.
I'm
like,
Oscar, I'm a baby face, and you're just like, I'm going to kick your ass. Yeah. And he looks like a baby. It's like, dude, no.
But even the things he says and writes, like he's trying to be, like he's trying to come off all hard and everything, and you're like, that's cute. Like, it's sad, but it's Oscar De La Hoya, right? Like, I say that, and I know if I saw him right now, he could breathe and he would knock me out. You know? Because he's a damn good boxer. I mean, he's a phenomenal boxer. But he doesn't... There's just something about it. I mean, I know you compared it to WWE. Yeah. There's certain WWE stars that have mic skills that you're just like... And then there's other guys you're like, yeah, that's cute.
And here's the problem I had with Khabib is... Even... Okay, UFC is allowing the trash talk in there. That's obvious. They're going to allow the trash talk. So he says a lot of stuff to you. You have to understand, first off, don't take it personal because it's a trash talk to get the fight.
Well, that's the whole thing. The whole point's to get in your head.
Yeah, and I get that.
It's head game.
I get that because we used to do it as coaches and stuff, and when I wrestled, we would say stuff all the time.
Right.
Trash talking was kind of part of the whole thing.
Right.
To try to get in somebody's head, and sometimes it works. So he has to understand that this is what it is. It's just verbal trash talk. You don't push it outside the ring into the physical arena, which he did.
Well, Conor posted on Instagram, we may have lost the battle, but we won the war. The interesting thing about it is, right, Conor didn't get in Khabib's head in the ring in the sense that Khabib stayed focused when he was in the ring. Did. Right? Like, he didn't throw his game plan off. That's usually that's where Conor's really good. He gets in your head, and then you get thrown off on your game plan.
Because he'll keep it up in the ring, too.
Correct.
He's going to say stuff in the ring.
And he was. Conor, you watch that fight, he was saying all... I wish we could have that audio, because he was saying...
It'd be fun to hear the audio of a lot of these fighters.
I mean, he was just trash-talking the whole time. But Khabib kept his head composed. But the second the fight was over, all that talk got in his head.
Yeah.
And if he gets suspended and the title stripped... At the end of the day, as much as Conor lost this fight, If Khabib gets suspended and the title gets
Khabib
stripped,
lost.
the title will go to an interim belt between Ferguson and Conor now.
Yeah.
Right? So Conor will get a second shot at the title. He'll get another whatever 50. He said he might make $50 million off this with the endorsements and everything else. He'll get another $50 million payday.
Yeah.
Khabib's going to be stuck in Russia, waiting for a fight overseas because he won't be able to fight here, and he won't have the belt. So at the end of the day, depending on how this go, Conor won. And it's one of those things like watching the press conferences, watching the build up to this fight. This is what Conor does. Like, it's normal. Like he went up against Floyd Mayweather. Floyd, the only person better than Conor at this is Floyd, right? And Conor was pulling crap out on Floyd that nobody knew.
Oh, I love the suit. Was it the suit that just said "fuck you" all over the suit?
Right, all the way down.
Oh, that was hilarious.
But like he brought up some personal stuff that he found out about Floyd, and it was funny because he would take the jabs. And you'd see Floyd first, like if you just go back and watch the press conferences if you can find him. He'll say things at times where you're like, what the hell? And then you'll look at Floyd's face, they'll show it. Like the camera will show Floyd, and he'll be like, how the hell did you find out about that? Right? Like he'll have this serious look, and then it's like, and then he smiles, and he's like, my man.
Yeah. Because he's respecting it.
Right, like he's like, like at first he's like, damn, he just made that public. But then it's like, my man, you know how to play this game.
It's a game of squash.
Right, like it's
squash.
It's all a head game, right? Like, and then Floyd, the next one, found out stuff about Conor.
Yeah.
And he starts saying it. And you see Conor's face like, my man. Like, you can see in their
you
head.
gain respect
like,
for each other.
Right, like it's... You tried to get with my... How the hell did you find out about that? And like at first they get upset about it, and then you can see their mind real quick like go from upset to like, damn, he's good.
Yeah.
I can't believe he found out about that. Nobody's found out about that. Like that one's... My wife don't know about that one.
But she does now.
Wow! That's good! Like, my man! I give you props for it. But it was like... Mayweather and Conor were going back and forth.
Yeah, and that's something could be, you know, either somebody needed to coach him.
Well, he said it after the fight. He's like, it's a respect thing. You don't do that. You don't do that. And he kept using the words, you don't do that.
Yeah.
And the problem is that's true of most fighters in the fight game. And I get Dana's built this up to clean, but someone like Conor, that's
well,
not
the thing
Conor.
is too, and they've allowed it into the UFC. I don't like it because to me it brings the essence of the WWE in it, which I've never really. So I don't like the trash talk, but
that's how you build the sport.
That's how they're doing it now. They've allowed it for a while now, and it wasn't even Conor that started it. It was who's the boys out of California?
The Diaz brothers.
The Diaz brothers are really good at it too. They trash talk.
They are good at it.
Yeah, so they're good at trash talking, and they were probably before Conor, they were probably the ones that really started doing it.
Well, you know what's funny is Dana talked about it at the press conference. He was like, somebody asked him, were you going to do anything to stop it? Like, that wasn't the question, but that was the gist of the question. And Dana's like, stop what, trash talking? He's like, trash talking's in every sport. Mm-hmm. He's like, you just don't hear it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the big thing. Like, when you watch the NFL, you watch the NBA, you watch Major League Baseball, you don't hear the trash talking. Like, it's not, you just don't hear it because it's on the field. He's like, it's everywhere. He's like, you can't stop it.
So I had this girl that I was coaching years and years ago because I was coaching a girls' team at a high school. And I had this girl, 180-pounder, high school. She's a 180-pounder. And she played, by the way, on the varsity football team, too. The guys' varsity football team. She had won state the year before for girls wrestling. She took state wrestling champ. So the next year, we're up there getting ready to wrestle, and she's wrestling against another guy, 180-pounder, and she's off weighing in the girls locker room, and we're weighing the boys in. And we're sitting there, and the boy from the other team steps up, and he goes, so I don't have anybody to wrestle right now? I said, no, you're wrestling our girl. And he goes, oh, wrestling a girl. Because as a boy in high school, you're like, you don't want to wrestle a girl, It goes bad. Either if you beat the hell out of her and make her look bad, then you're an asshole.
Right.
If you lose...
That you lost to a girl.
You lost to a girl. Yeah, and you won't live that one down. You talk about trash talk. You're going to get trash talk the whole time.
Yep.
From your other teammates, right? So, to get in his head, I'm the coach. I'm like, well, yeah, she's a girl, but she won state championship last year. Took first place. I didn't tell him it was in girls wrestling. I just said she took state championship. The look on his face, the smile and everything at that time was like, oh, shit. And the other coach that was with me, too, he goes, yeah, she took state. And he's kind of smiling. He knew exactly what I was doing getting in this kid's head, right? They got out there, our girl kicked his ass.
Well, that's the mental game, right? Like that's part of the sport. That's any sport. That's football, basketball, baseball, fighting.
Even boxing. As a coach, I did it to this poor kid.
But that's the thing. You have to mentally prepare for that stuff. Like Khabib should have been mentally preparing for that. He's. I hope he doesn't. I hope his whole career isn't ruined by this, because he's a phenomenal fighter, and I want to see him fight again. So I really hope his career isn't gone.
Yeah.
But it's one of those situations like when you find out the governor's in the building, you're in the fight capital of the world. Like Vegas is the gold standard for this stuff. So if Vegas goes light.
UFC's based out of here now. Yeah. Well, Canada owns it now, but they're still based here.
Canada?
I thought Canada was a Canadian company that bought it.
No, IMG's out of LA.
Okay. I was thinking it was a Canadian company.
It's a talent agency.
Okay.
Yeah, they got the money. Because they represent a bunch of the fighters that are on the roster. But that's the thing, like, Vegas, I've heard this from a lot of people in this town, like, Vegas is kind of the gold standing when it comes to fighting. Like, when UFC was being regulated nationwide, they just kind of copy whatever Vegas does.
Well, look at boxing. It was always kind of here, too.
Correct. It still is. All the big fights are here.
Yeah.
You know, like the last Alvarez Triple G fight was here. Alvarez's next fight that he's going to have, it's going to be here.
Yeah.
Like Madison Square Garden, they'll do big fights. But the big July 4th is always here.
So, I mean, either here
New
or New
Year's
York,
Eve is always here.
Yeah.
The big fights. They're big. Like, think about it, this is Khabib Conor. That was in Vegas.
Yeah.
They could have done that in New York. They could have done it in LA. They could do it in Dallas. They could do it anywhere they want. They did it here. When Floyd fought Conor, they did it here. Jerry Jones offered a discount to Dallas Stadium.
Besides Floyd living here. So.
Right. Well, Floyd wants his hometown discount. You know?
So, yeah.
So.
I mean, he lives over. He doesn't live too far from here, actually.
No, he really doesn't. He lives down the street.
Yeah, he's just right down the street.
Yeah, he does.
See if we can invite him on the show. Come on, dude. Come on in. We got a third chair over here. Let's just sit down. We'll talk a little boxing, little MMA. Try to get him to jump in with Conor in that MMA ring.
No.
He can come in here and do some trash talking against Conor.
He's talking about getting back in the ring, though. The rumor mill started that it sounds like it's going to be Pacquiao, too.
Because he's probably out of money.
Well, that's probably true.
That's his only reason he ever does. He's not good at managing money.
Well, that's
terrible at managing money.
That's what happens when you fly your luggage private.
That's just stupid. Stupid money. And he started with the TMT, the money team thing.
The money team.
Yeah, no, you're not a money team because you spend it all. There's no money. You spend everything.
Like, I've heard so many things from people.
And then you owe the IRS $80 million, whatever it is you owe the IRS, or something ridiculous.
If he actually owed the money, it was an allegation.
Yeah, who knows?
It was an allegation that nothing ever came of it. So I'm wondering how true it was. But that's the thing. I wonder if the broke thing is just a storyline that they sell. Because when I talk to people in the town, he's got people that invest his money really wisely.
I saw an interview though of his wife one time. You've probably seen this before.
Was this the one after he got caught cheating with another girl at the other house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they own the two houses here in Vegas. She lives in one and he lives in the other.
The wife lives in Queensridge.
Yes.
And then he lives in Spanish Trails.
Yes.
And he got caught smacking around his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And the wife in the interview, they're like, so what do you think? And he's like, girl, she was looking at the news report.
I don't care.
She's like, I ain't leaving his ass. I got his house and money. She can have him one night a week. I got his money.
Uh-huh.
And it was just like, what?
Exactly.
Like,
she don't care.
She didn't care. She was like, she knew exactly what was going on. She didn't care at all. She's like, I'm married. I'm entitled. I'm the married one. I'm the one that gets half the money. If he
there's some rumors going around. She's got her boyfriends too, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They probably both do. They live in two different residences.
Yeah. On the other side of,
visit each other once a month.
Whatever. Well, he's got to see the kids, so he probably goes over there and see the kids, and they know what the schedule is. And
so she's looking at $100 million for that last fight too. Going, yeah, baby.
Yep.
Mama's getting some new shoes.
No, but we got to talk about Derek Lewis though. So Derek Lewis made up for his last fight. His last fight, there was a snoozer that didn't fight.
Okay, I didn't see that fight. So
You got to watch.
I only watched the main one. So I'll pull that one up then.
He goes 4 rounds.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you how this ends?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. 5th round, he's losing. He's getting dominant. He's fighting.
Because his previous fight was really
right.
bad.
They danced around for three rounds and didn't do anything. So they actually fight. They're engaged. He's fighting a Russian, big guy, right? 5th round or 3rd round, end of the 3rd. Clocked him.
Clock the Russian?
Clocked the Russian. Russian had the fight. He was on all scorecards.
Wow.
He had the fight. And Derek catches him and drops him. And there's like 30 seconds left in the fight. Like there's like no like if you're the
fight again.
If you're the Russian, you're like you're feeling good.
Yeah.
They like
Derek cocky.
Derek's tired, he's getting down, and Derek catches him and he drops.
So he's waking up going, what the fuck just happened?
So then
did I win?
I kept seeing memes of like Derek Lewis best press conference ever, like and I was like, because we had people over at the house, so I didn't get to hear Joe interview him afterwards. Derek pulled his shorts off. He's wearing compression shorts underneath because he doesn't wear the small ones. He wears so he has his compression shorts, but he pulls his shorts off. So Joe goes up to him and he goes, "Hey Derek, why'd you take your shorts off?" Quote, "My balls were hot." That's all he says. That's it. My balls were hot. I was like,
that's hilarious.
God. And so someone asked Dana after the fight. They're like, "So what do you think of Derek taking his shorts off?" And Dana's like, "Huh?"
Dana didn't realize
He
it?
had no idea. He had no clue that Derek pulled his shorts off so he had his shorts off, and Joe comes up to him. You can hear the gaming. Someone from gaming, the guys in the red coats, comes up to Derek and is like, "Hey man, you got to put your shorts on."
I got compression shorts on underneath.
Well, you did. I mean,
and
most fighters wear those compression shorts, so it's not like it's a big deal. But it's not like he was naked up there or anything. But then it was just like a latent, like just bleep, beep, 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 like the whole interview. So I got to go back and watch it and actually try and like decipher what he's saying. But it was just hysterical. I was like, dude, you redeemed yourself in my eyes.
That's
you had a snoozer of a fight. You said you were going to make up for it in the next fight, and you did. He really did. You got to watch it, though, because it's one of those fights, like we were watching, I was like, I was losing interest because I was just like, dude, Derek's getting beat. Like, he's just not having it. And then, end of the fight, just caught him and knocked him. So, and then Ferguson's fight's really good, too. So,
I'm going to pull this up. We're going to switch gears here a little bit.
Go back to the original topic?
Yeah, because of our original topic of what we did with the news story. I meant to do this a little bit ago.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull, we like to pull our Bible verse up for the week.
Verse of the week.
Verse of the week. I'm going to pull that up real quick. All right. It's out of 1 Timothy. This is the New King James Version. Pray for all men. Therefore exhort first of all that supplications, prayer, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men. Doesn't say some men.
All.
You mean like the guy over here?
All.
What about this guy over here?
All.
What about the president?
All.
What about Putin?
All.
There you go. All men. For all men, for kings and all who are in authority.
Oh, does that say all who are in authority?
All who are in authority.
So would that include Obama?
Yes.
Trump?
It says all. All.
Supreme Court?
All.
Congress?
All.
Putin?
All.
The douchebag in Syria?
All.
The douchebag in Iran?
All of them.
The douchebags in China?
All of them. Yep.
Damn.
Sorry, man. It says all in authority.
All in authority.
Can't dispute it. It says all right there. That we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and reverence.
Quiet. So is that kind of like
quiet and peaceable life?
So quiet. Kind of like when Jesus said, go in your closet and pray in your closet?
Yeah. And it's amazing how this you don't hear verses like this. And I wanted to do this one only because of the sides that people pick, and it's like, Trump's an asshole, Obama's an asshole, the two sides doing this. It's like, no, you got to pray for them all. Right? Mm-hmm. Pray for them all. It doesn't say you have to like them.
Doesn't mean
it doesn't say you're going to go to dinner with them. It doesn't say you're going to vote for them, but you got to pray for them all.
Yeah,
you got to do that. so you can have a peaceful life yourself.
Well, at the end of the day, everyone wants what's best for the country.
Exactly.
Like, regardless of who's in office, you know, like, we still want them to succeed, because if they're successful, then we're successful.
Exactly.
Regardless of
Yeah.
whether you agree or not. For them to be unsuccessful means the country goes to crap.
Exactly.
And then we're all in crap.
So you got to pray for them all.
So you want all of them to be successful. So, I mean, and context.
So this is where it comes into the churches picking sides, like we talked about. Don't do this shit.
And I get a lot of pushback from a lot of people on both sides when I bring this up. I leave the scripture alone. Let's put some context to this. So Paul and Peter write about authority, right? Paul wrote 1 Timothy. Peter writes about it in 1 Peter.
Yeah.
Paul writes about it again in Romans and a couple other places. Jesus tells us to pray for everyone. He's the ultimate authority, but scripture is God-inspired, so it's authoritative as well. But I always go back to Rome, right? So John, at the end of his life, could have totally clarified, right? Like John wrote his gospel, he could have totally clarified a lot of this. He wrote a couple books, given us a lot of teachings on it. Because Peter and Paul would have lived through Caligula. Caligula. Everyone's familiar with Caligula, the Roman emperor, correct? No. Let me educate you on Caligula. If you're not familiar with him, you can look him up. He appointed his horse as second in command to the Roman Empire. His freaking horse. Yeah. This would have been one of the men that Paul would have told the Romans, you need to submit to.
I want to see one of the presidents, like, make his dog, like, second in command or vice president. Actually run for president with the dog as vice president. What do you think?
I would nickname them Caligula.
Yeah. Be hilarious.
They better run under.
What would happen today?
They would need to be named Caligula.
It'd be funny.
There's no difference. But when you Rome, they still had a voting senate that they voted for. Yes, if you were a citizen, you didn't vote for the emperor, but you damn well sure voted for your senator still.
Yeah.
And all the Senate of Rome did, fancy that, they relinquished their power to Caesar. Wasn't that interesting? Our Senate keeps relinquishing its power to the president.
Yeah.
Fun fact, if you want to look it up, because I did, Roman emperors, guess how long they ruled for? About 4 to 6 years. Interesting. Our presidents rule for what? 4 to 8? Huh. That seems kind of interesting.
We are a republic based on the Roman Empire, basically.
Oh, I got one better.
We're not far off.
Hey, what about Nero, who's burning Christians alive to light his streets?
Yeah.
You mean I got to submit to that asshole? Yeah, no. That one.
No. What you have to do is
pray for them.
Pray for them. Pray for all of them. While your buddy's burning in the streets, pray for him.
This is where I get frustrated with Christians who... I get it, you don't like the verse. But here's the thing. When your guy's not in office, you want everyone to submit to your guy when they are in office. I don't care what guy's in office. Submit to all of them. You can vote them out. You don't have to agree with them. But we asked for this. At the end of the day, we asked for kings. You go back to 1 Samuel, there were none.
Yeah.
None for believers.
No, I didn't ask for a king.
Well, I didn't ask to sin either, but Adam kind of fucked me on that one, huh?
No, I think that was Lilith.
God blamed Adam.
I think he did, but I think Lilith made him do it, and then God gave him a second chance, and then gave him Eve, and then Eve made him do it, and he's like, "Fuck it, I might as well take the blame."
No, I think if anything, Lilith tried to get Adam to fall. No, I think you have this wrong. Lilith took a bite and tried to get Adam to do it, and Adam said, "Hell no, I'm not doing this. You're an idiot." God banished her. And then when Eve came around and she ate of it, then he said, well, fuck.
It makes sense because when you see how the world proliferated with children right off the bat, it makes sense that there would be 2 women having children instead of 1. And then they became 2 different tribes. One of them ended up becoming Noah, who built the ark.
And then you have the other tribe of Lilith that's going against them with the ark. I'm writing a new book.
You write it. Well, let's do our meme.
All right.
Meme of the week.
And this goes along with the ark I was
This
just
does.
talking about. It really does.
This one was hysterical, by the way, guys. The moral of Noah's Ark. God wants you to have a yacht.
He does.
He does.
No. What he
And-
really, really wants you to have
Is a space station.
is a space station. Yes. Okay, now, so Mike hits me up today and he goes, is there any verses to support the space station? And it was like, no.
No,
'Cause
Jeff
he
hit
told
me
me
up
it was
and
the
asked
wrong
me
ark.
if there was one.
I thought I said no, there wasn't. And then you looked it up and disagreed with me. You're like, you're right. There isn't any.
Oh, that's right. I did. Never mind. He asked, and I was like, I wonder if there is. So I Googled it. And verses related to International Space Station. Our computer could not find anything. I did a couple of those just to double check to make sure there was nothing about space stations in the Bible.
No.
Nope.
No space stations
No
in the Bible.
space station in the Bible.
But you know what? If we look at the interpretations and take it to modern day,
Then space station would make sense.
yeah, an ark. Think of an ark like a space station. We'll just call it the ark.
Well, I think they've done this with, like, I think it was Deep Impact or one of the movies where they did where asteroids are going to destroy the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And they built arks,
Arks, yes.
which were space stations to send people to space
See?
just to save all
It
mankind.
makes perfect sense.
Right.
So we still need our money for a space station. So if you go to GoFundMe, you can give us some money so we can build a space station. Hey, a space station for more holy water.
Lots of holy water.
I can make a lot of this in space, and this would be blessed in space because it's closer to God.
It's closer to God.
That's right.
All right. Well, I got to get up in the morning because I'm training for a half marathon. I got to run a bunch of miles. And
Yeah.
it's way too late.
I'm
for
training
me.
for a half marathon too, kind of, sort of, with a broken foot.
Yeah, but his ass doesn't get up at 4 a.m.
No. And I still got my foot broken from that 55 miler. It's
That's
still
true.
fractured. So
I'm not. I'm just sore.
I'm gonna end up walking my half marathon. Or
I ran
running
8
part
miles
of it.
on Sunday and I'm dying.
That's good, dude. That's actually excellent that you did that.
8
Congratulations,
miles.
man. That's
Yeah.
that's awesome. That
It was
you
only
did
supposed to be 7, but
Wanted
I
to be an 8?
miscalculated.
Hey, once you go 7, you might as well go 8.
Well, you know, if I ran 8, I know I can do 8 again this week, and then
that
9
one I
next
did.
week.
That one I did in August. It was like once I hit 30, it was like,
Um,
oh, fuck it. What's another 20?
Right. Well, I hit 8, so it's another 5 I got to build up to. But you're only supposed to hit 10 or 11 the week before. You're not supposed to go all 13.
No.
So
no,
you're
yeah,
only supposed to. The cap run is 10, and then it's like a 5K or a 10K the week before, and then to
Here's
do
what's
it.
interesting. So I'm actually the director for a 5K the week
Right.
before.
The week
In fact,
before.
if anybody is interested, I'm a director for 5K for Red Rock Search and Rescue. But it's the week before. We had our winner last year of the Red Rock Search and Rescue 5K. This couple. And they showed up from the Strip. Now, our run is way up in North Vegas, several miles
Yeah.
away from the Strip. They ran from the Strip to the 5K.
Ran the 5K.
Ran the 5K. They stretched and everything beforehand. Signed up. They hadn't even signed up yet. They just heard it was here. It was like, hey. And it was the day before the marathon. The day before the marathon, right? Last year, that's what we did. So they show up and they ran all the way there from the Strip, several miles. They stretch. They ran the 5K. Won, by the way. Then they turn around and they were asking for a ride. Hey, can we get a ride back from somebody? And we're doing some cleanup. We're like, yeah, we'll be ready in probably 20, 30 minutes. And give you a ride back to the Strip. Next thing you know, we turn around. They're running back to the Strip. Several miles back. And then they were doing the marathon the next day.
You know, if they're like our buddy who does 50 and 100-mile marathons, that's probably nothing to
Yeah,
them.
that was like, yeah.
That's just endurance runners.
This dude, they were just
So-
they're running everywhere. And they were these little tiny,
Yeah.
beanpole, skinny, wiry people that just you can tell just run everywhere.
I will
So-
say, if you're ever encouraged by it, it's taken 10 months to get up to this point. Because at the beginning of the year, I couldn't run a quarter mile.
Yeah.
I was so overweight, so
I remember
heavy.
that you and I were running at the gym that one time,
And
and
I could only do-
I was pushing you on the.
I could
corners
only
for a
do
little bit.
the ends, the
Yeah.
short ends. I couldn't run anything else because my shins would hurt.
Yeah.
I had really bad shin splits, and I could only run the ends for like 5 laps was like a mile.
Well, remember that time I pushed you that one time? We did several laps that time. And we were sprinting it.
Yeah.
Because you were hurting then.
Uh-huh. And I was only doing about a mile,
Yeah.
like if that.
No,
So-
when I showed up, you said you were only doing a mile. I think we did about 3 that night.
Yeah, we didn't do that many.
I
thought we did. I thought we did about 15 laps.
We only
Anyway,
did like 2.
so sorry we got off on a tangent on running. So anyway, guys, want you to have a good week.
Oh, real quick.
Oh, we need to rate this.
We gotta
beer.
rate this
Yeah,
guy.
we forgot this. Okay,
So-
Circus Boy.
The Hefeweizen,
Have
lemongrass.
you know? I know you really liked it. The lemon.
You didn't,
The
though.
lemony flavor was a little bit too strong for me, being
Yeah.
lemon. It's actually kind of giving me a little bit of upset stomach.
Oh,
the
that's
lemony
not
beer.
good.
So but it is good. It would make a good summer beer. It's
Yep.
hot outside.
Definitely summer beer.
I would probably go 1.5 on this one.
That's exactly where I was going to put it.
Yeah, 1.5. Okay.
Yep, I wasn't going to go higher than that.
So
Because it's one of those, like, if I saw that on a hot day, I'd definitely take it home and drink
Yeah.
a 6-pack. Absolutely. Especially on a hot day.
yeah, it would be good to sit and enjoy on a hot day, and it's low enough in alcohol. It was only,
Yeah, it's only
4 or
4.5.
5, so it's
Yep.
not that bad.
Nope.
So you can drink several of them and still
Yep.
mow the yard. While you're doing it, because you sweat out that 4.5 no
Oh,
time
yeah,
at all.
very easy.
Summertime.
So,
So
all right, guys. We're a little long, so.
yeah, a little long. So hey, peace out to everyone. Go be good to somebody. Do somebody a favor this week. Be
Yep.
nice. Volunteer for something.
Do something fun. Do something nice for somebody. Buy someone coffee.
Yeah, do something
That's
nice for
cheap
somebody
and
this
easy.
week. Try
Yep.
try something different in your life.
Absolutely. Be
All right,
good
guys.
to each other.
Have a great week.
Peace.
Talk to you next week.